Hello out there. Holy, we got a record amount of people in here today. Bitcoin buzzing or what? I put the orange shirt on for a reason today. It was out before I even looked at the price. What are we at? I didn't even do metrics today. My goodness, Jor. What are we doing here? What are we doing? I do want to show you something though. Look how nice it is right now out in my view. You can't really tell, but beautiful orangey pink sky. Sunrise. Sun's coming up. The cakes are on the griddle. All right. Good morning, YouTube. Good morning, Zap Stream. Let's check over there. Let's see how we're making out. Speaking of making out, hopefully everybody who zapped and liked the video yesterday got their hump in yesterday. It is Open Sats Thursday today, which means that all the zaps from the stream are going to be going to our open Sats fund. Let me check on that fund. I think that one's doing a little bit better than the dog one. I think we missed a couple Mondays. That's why. But we had a tough week last week. We got to make up for it. Only 1,300 sats last week. But we are at 70,800 sats in the open sats fund right now. Pretty good. We're going to keep doing that till we can't. So anyways, it is Thursday. We got the orange shirt on today. I don't love the Maui aspect of it, but it's orange. Looks kind of peachy, but we have poor lighting here. Anyways, Daniel is the winner of the 88 sats this morning. I think, don't quote me on this, but I think, and I don't think we'll ever prove it or anybody could prove me wrong here, but I think Daniel was the very first member of Living in the Future. I'm 99% sure on that. So I wanted to give a shout out today for Daniel. He's a great guy. I've had a lot of communication with him in the last 6 months, and more recently in person, or not in person, but face to face over the computer. Very intelligent guy, great guy, very generous guy as well. So we're going to zap Daniel today for 88 sats. I'm going to zap a post. I was going to zap a profile, but posts are better. I like your lightning URL, Daniel. Coach. Okay, so here we go. Here's 88 sats to Daniel. Sent. And people say we don't use Bitcoin. People say nobody uses Bitcoin. Coach at getlb.com. That's Daniel's lightning URL. Okay. Well, I got way too many comments here to catch up on already, but that's good. That's what we want. We want people in here. We want YouTube to know that we're here. So cheers to you. I did want to start the show with that today, actually, and just say thanks to everybody out there. It's been we're coming up to a year in about a week and a half or 2 weeks here, and it's been an amazing year for just everything: growth, the channel, the people, the community. And so I want to say thanks to everybody for showing up every day with me. And shout out to whoever sent Arnie 8800 sats yesterday. I don't know who it was. They didn't leave a message, name, anything. They just sent 8800 sats to our guy's wallet here yesterday. So you know who you are. I don't know who you are, but I just want to say thank you for that. Awesome stuff. I see Orange Sunshine with a new profile pic over in Zapstream. Sunshine. Good morning, travelers. Does that mean time travelers? Kind of feel like a time traveler some days. Don't you guys? Letha's over there. Good morning. Good Thursday morning. We got Bitcoin Buddha. Oh, I was going to say, what the heck? What's with travelers today? But it's the same person on YouTube and on Zapstream. Good morning, travelers. Jay says, good title. Title today is Everyone Will Want Your Bitcoin. And that is, I kind of went pretty hard on that for a while. It was my theme for about 2 weeks in terms of every single entity, not person, but entity will want your Bitcoin. And so we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about a few different thought experiments in terms of the government. So what does that mean? Everyone's going to want your Bitcoin. That means people, obviously. That means companies, businesses are going to want your Bitcoin. They're going to want to hold Bitcoin on their balance sheet as their treasury reserve that's going to not only maintain purchasing power, but significantly increase over these next 20 years. Countries are going to want your Bitcoin desperately. And we're going to talk about the prisoner's dilemma for the countries today and what they're looking at into the future here. Robots and AI are going to want your Bitcoin. And I think that that's what most, the general population, I think, not only are they not at 1, 2, 3, but they're not even close to the AI aspect of it and the robots. So just value your sats, hang on to them, because I mean, you can throw some this way once in a while, but other than that, just make sure that you're protecting those with your life. So there we go. What Sunshine says, no travelers on the Bitcoin journey. Okay, that makes sense too. We are all on the Bitcoin journey. We're all going through this whole thing together. And I was thinking about that yesterday. In terms of our living in the future community, we got the Signal chat over there that's pretty much all day, most days. Some days are a little quiet, but for the most part, you got the Signal chat, you got the Discord server, the channel there. And I just thought, I was thinking, like, it's so amazing. People pay for like AI, like I think it's like $50 a year or something to use AI. But imagine having like an AI where you could just ask a question about Bitcoin, whatever you're stuck on, whatever you're going through, whatever you need help with. Imagine you could just ask a question out there and there's like 40, 50, 60 people, very knowledgeable Bitcoiners who can help you right there. You know, some of the consultants out there in Bitcoin, and I'm not going to throw any names or shade around at anybody, but some people charge like $500 an hour US to ask questions like that. Whoa. What the hell was that? Arnie. He's causing some fucking mayhem out there. But anyway, so that's the beauty of that group, is not only do you have somebody to oh my God, what a menace. You know, talk to about things with, but you go in there, you ask any question, and there's going to be somebody who can help you with it. I guarantee it. And as somebody who's been through that before at the start of the journey, where you're just kind of getting your feet wet in Bitcoin and you have so many questions and you don't know who you can trust online. You don't know where to look for help. You don't know, you could spend dozens of hours watching videos on YouTube, but you just go in there and ask a question, and you're not going to get one answer. You're going to get a couple answers and probably a discussion over it. So it's a beautiful thing. It really is. I see Noah's over in the Zap stream. Good morning, Noah. I'm a traveler, soon to hit the road. I'm hitting the road today too, actually. I had a tire blow up here it was last week, I think, on the highway. Kind of scary. But I got to go into the city today and get some new tires. I'm not happy about it. Rather buy sats. Anyways, Arthur, good morning. Good to see you. BTC backpackers in the house. Can't wait to be that crazy Bitcoiner this holiday season. Last time this year, Bitcoin was a lot lower than it was going into Thanksgiving and Christmas. I told you guys so. What was it? What was it this time last year? We got them. I'll just use the metrics from yesterday because it'll still be pretty accurate, unless there was a big jump. But this time last year, the price of one Bitcoin was less than $30,000, $29,986. Let me just confirm that on today. That was yesterday, a year ago. What is it today? October 24th, 2024. It's going to be a big day in Bitcoin today. I can feel it. Oh. Whenever I get that feeling, I throw in the orange shirt. Holy. Okay, so look at this. So yesterday, October 23rd, 2023, the price was less than 30,000, 29,900. the following day, October 24th, 2023. What a guy. I swear he's camera shy, because as soon as the show ends, as soon as I stop talking, he comes and sits over here. So we're going to have to, I was thinking about how we could lure him over here. Maybe if, like, depending on the biggest zap from the day before, maybe we'll give him a different treat or something every morning before the show. I don't know. But he can't keep blowing us off. Anyways, October 24th, 2023, the next day, $33,883. So that's a $4,000 jump in a day at this time last year. They don't call it October for no reason. And it's not like it just goes up slowly, just how we want to. It's like it could be any time, any day. That's where the gains are. Oh, there's Arnie. Hi, buddy. Oh, look at this. What are you doing? What do you drop out there? Okay. You can hang out if you want to. Good to see Arnie. We haven't seen him for a while. He's been a ghost. Most people who meet Arnie say he looks like Ghost from the Game of Thrones, I think it is. Ghost. I don't know. I never watched it, but anyways, good to see him. Where were we? Jay, ladies. Hey, shout out to the ladies. The 2% club. The ladies. 2% of this audience is women. Wonder why that is. I think that's pretty reflective of the Bitcoin communities itself. But Letha, good to see you in both chats. Okay, well, let's I gotta be better at taking the comments off the screen when I'm talking, because I'm going to start doing more clips. I feel like that's what a lot of people look for, especially non-Bitcoiners. I mean, Bitcoiners, I could sit and listen to a 4-hour interview about Bitcoin, but non-Bitcoiners or pre-coiners, as we like to call them, they don't do that. So I want to start putting out like a minute clips of different things throughout the show. And it's hard when there's a comment taking up half the screen there. So I need to be better at that. But anyways, that's just me talking out loud. Holy, the fees are up today. All right, let's get to the mempool here. See what's going on. We are currently sitting at block height 867145. If you're transacting on Bitcoin layer 1 today, you're paying 31 sats per VByte. 6,000 transactions in this last block. So Foundry was the winner. I swear Foundry is like half the blocks go to Foundry. But anyways, for their trouble, they got 3.454 Bitcoin worth 233,000 US dollars. The subsidy part of that is 3.125 Bitcoin, and the total fees on that. So every time there's a transaction sent within that block, the miner gets the fees for that. So in this case, it was 32 million sats worth 22,000 US dollars. And how are we doing for the difficulty here? We're still a little bit ahead, 5 blocks ahead right now. So we're actually right on track. There you go. There's the metrics for today. Timber Crasher. Let's give away some Bitcoin, courtesy of our friend over at Bitcoin Well. Did anybody watch the Bitcoin Well webinar yesterday? Personally, I hate webinars. I don't know why. I just hate that word. Maybe I'm still scarred from my old life. Webinars. But it was pretty good. I cut the second half of it. I like all those guys that were there yesterday. It was Adam, Peter, no, not Peter, Tony, I think, and somebody else. Anyways, get your phones out. As I leave another comment up there for a minute. Get your phones out. We're going to give away some Bitcoin. Open up your Lightning wallet. Press send. And get ready to scan this code. The first person who scans this code is going to win at least 500 sats from our friends over at Bitcoin Well, the official Bitcoin platform of golf. Ready? Here we go. Oh, there we go. There we go as everybody scrambles to scan the code. That's our first one in about a month probably that's been over 500 sats. So 2,100 sats to somebody out there today. I should have scooped that one up down. Maybe it'll still be there. No, I'd say fat chance on that. Gonzo. Well, congrats. Congrats to that. I know one day we're going to hit a big one. I mean, that's just the odds. You got to play the odds. We're doing this every day. So we're going to hit a big one. 2,100 sats, courtesy of the Bitcoin Well. They are the best exchange. They're the official I keep saying exchange. The official platform, Bitcoin platform of golf. And they're the best Bitcoin platform. The reason we call it a platform is because it's much more than just an exchange. You can swap on there from on-chain to Lightning for free. You can pay your bills with it. You can buy gift cards. You can earn sats for buying Bitcoin, selling Bitcoin. You can set up recurring buys, and there's a 1% flat rate fee on Bitcoin Well. And if you sign up using the bitcoinwell.com/Jor link, you get 5 free tosses into the wishing well. So every toss is at least 500 sats. So you're going to get at least 2,500 sats for signing up with the link. And you just try it out. This is what I would suggest. Just get an account today, bitcoinwell.com/Jor. Buy like $100, $150, $200 worth of Bitcoin. Try it out. Let me know what your experience is like. I'll send you some sats for that too, because I'll get a couple from Bitcoin Well for you signing up, and I'll send you. Tell me what your experience was like. Was it good? Was it bad? Were you surprised? Was it you're never using again? You're going to use it a lot, and I'll send you some sats for that, and I'll pass that information on to Adam as well. That's my deal for you today. So sign up, and if you've already signed up too, just shoot me an email and let me know what your experience is like on there. If you're using it as your primary one, backup, I'm curious. I've switched I went from ShakePay to Bitcoin Bull to Bitcoin Well now, or Bull Bitcoin, sorry, for all my Bitcoin needs. Anyways, let's keep it going here. Rick, our daily reminder, smashing the like. How we doing for that? We had a lot of people in the chat this morning before we showed up. I'm always scared to click the video here because it's going to be loud. Oh yeah, we got 30 people watching, 22 likes. Not great, but pretty good. Rick's remakes. We got Rick and Rick's remakes. Howdy, good morning, Duncan. Jack Brown. Bitcoin rallying back today. Yeah, it's good to see. What did we touch yesterday? 65? We're almost at 68 again now. All right. Yeah, I saw this today. Timbercrat, or yesterday. Says, I keep seeing a lot of posts on Twitter today that the most important Bitcoin news this year will be announced. Anyone else keep seeing that? Wonder if any rumors hold any weight, or wonder if the rumors hold any weight to them. It was Dennis Porter, I think, who's been talking about that. And I got I think Noah actually sent it into the chat yesterday that this big announcement's coming. And I always, my senses kind of tingle whenever there's somebody who's like announcing an announcement. It's like, if you have an announcement, just fucking say it. Like, why the buildup? And then he's like, well, okay, if people send in 3 Bitcoin to this fund, then I'll announce it today. That's kind of where he lost me. And you know what? He might have a legit announcement to make that could make a difference somehow. I doubt it, but he could. It's just, for me, whenever you start saying shit like that, I'm out. So we'll see. I have 0 expectations for it. Jason, good morning, brother. It is a pump for ants. Rick's Remake says, here's a lesson. I've made this mistake twice now. It usually costs me about €1,000 each time. Okay, well, let's learn from Rick's Remakes here today. So I had 3,000 euros. Is that euros or pounds? I think euros. I was intending to put into Bitcoin. Thought I'd hold off, hoping for a small dip in Bitcoin. And that week got distracted, invested in a meme coin, lost half it. Should have just put it in Bitcoin. By the way, shout out to the Ethereum community. Let's touch on that for a sec, because I did have that up on the agenda today. Who am I? All right, ETH is dead. Let's take a look at this quickly. Let's get this off the screen. Getting better at that already. All right, let's take a look to see how Bitcoin has been holding up against Ethereum lately. The new Ethereum Bitcoin hits lowest level since April 2021. Pretty sad. So it went from, at its peak back in 2021, you could have bought, or one Ethereum was worth 90 million sats, pretty much. Just under 90 million sats. No, sorry, 9 million sats. My bad. And then fast forward to 2024, 3 short years later, and one Ethereum is worth less than 4 million sats. So it's lost half its purchasing power in comparison to Bitcoin in 3 years. And I've talked to many people. I shouldn't say many, but like many for me, right, in my little network here. But I've talked to a lot of people who I've helped in Bitcoin, and they're Bitcoiners, but they're like, okay, well, I bought Bitcoin now. I have this Ethereum that I've had for 2 or 3 years now. I'm waiting for the price to get back up to even so I can break even on it. I don't want to have a loss here. So I'm going to hold on to it. And I'm like, you know what? I predicted exactly what was going to happen. I said it might go up in fiat terms. It might not though too, but it might. But it's going to go down in comparison to Bitcoin. It's been going down, and it's going to continue going down. And it's going to continue going down from today as well. You know why? Because Bitcoin has so much momentum going for it, so much capital pouring into it, so much being built on top of Bitcoin, and Ethereum has nothing. Nothing. You talk to anybody in Ethereum who holds Ethereum, like the actual Ethereum believers, they have nothing going for them right now. They don't know the roadmap. They don't know who's doing what. They don't know anything. And then you talk to other people, the other Ethereum holders who are just waiting for the fiat price to go up. They don't believe in it. There's now Solana, which is a much better option than Ethereum, is way cheaper, way faster, does the exact same thing. Ethereum is nothing. So if you're out there listening to this and you have any Ethereum, don't wait for the fiat price to go up. Today, make it your only, if you have one thing to do today, swap that Ethereum for Bitcoin, because that chart is not going to go back upwards ever. Oh, I just can't. Meme coins and stuff, I've said it before, like if you got buddies and you're in a little group chat and you're, whatever, you take 2 or 3% of your portfolio, put it into a meme coin, I don't care. But like Ethereum, there's just nothing going for it, and there will be never, it'll never change. Sorry for my rant, my Ethereum rant. All right, let's check on the Zap stream here quickly. Oh, why isn't this working here? Okay, who we got over here? We got Ahsoka. Good morning, guys and girls. We got Plunger. Morning, team. Sunshine. Is that a different Sunshine? We have 2 Sunshines in here. Is it the same person? I don't know. This is something else. So anyway, Sunshine zapped 420 sats. Thank you, Sunshine. Plunger says, remember to consolidate those UTXOs. I wouldn't be doing it today, but yes, that's a great great point. Noah zapped 1,000 sats for the open sats Thursdays. Thank you, Noah. Happy Thursday. What happened? Okay, I'm confused too. Plunger said, what happened to Sunshine? Sunshine said, I am Sunshine. You are Spaceman. I don't know. I'm going back to YouTube comments. I'm just as confused as everybody in that chat. Hey, Moro 21. Good morning, brother. I think brother. It looks like a brother. BTC, only money in planet. Nuno. Well, it's not the only money in the planet, but it's the best money. It's the hardest money. It's the only money that's real. So yeah, I guess you're kind of right there. AD, good morning, brother. Yeah, Arnie's doing burnouts. He's doing something out there. I don't know. If we hear a big drop, I might have to stop the show. But how does Bitcoin work in divorce? Is it seen as property? Well, I mean, that's something you got to keep in the back of your mind here, depending on how old you are and what stage of life you're in. So like if you're a Bitcoiner, and I'm going to talk about this in terms of like citizens in different countries and stuff, but like if you're a Bitcoiner pre-January 2024 and you're single and in 5 years you meet a girl and we know what your portfolio is going to be worth at that time, like is that part of the conversation? Do you tell them you have Bitcoin? Because unlike a traditional, let's say you got married, and in a traditional divorce, they would have access to your property, like land, your house, your business, your investments, your retirement fund. They would have access to all of that. They wouldn't have any access to your Bitcoin, though. It's not like there's a company who sends you an annual statement, unless you keep it on an exchange or something, but it's not like there's a company who sends you an annual statement of how many sats you have. So it's something that people, I think it's going to be a big thing in the future in terms of not only the marriage stuff, but the inheritance stuff. Bitcoin's going to be a whole wrench into that traditional system that they've been milking. And, I think the world's going to look a lot different in terms of how that all works legally in the future. What do I recommend for CoinJoin? I still use Sparrow, like the old version of Sparrow. So I think that my coins but I mean, that is not very helpful. I don't know. That's actually a good question. We're going to be talking about KYC, non-KYC Bitcoin on the show today, though. So if anybody has any answers for for a CoinJoin, just throw it in the chat and they'll see it. We'll talk about it and we'll be part of the show today. Dale, good morning. Our favorite quick bit from Regina, Saskatchewan. BRICS summit in Russia just finished. The world is changing fast. Good or bad? Don't know. Just stack your sats. I think it's very good. I'm incredibly optimistic about the future. There's going to be some bad days. There's going to be some worse days for a lot of people. But if you're here right now and you have Bitcoin, if you have a UTXO and you plan on living for the next 20 years, like you're in a very good spot, regardless of what happens. Unless you're in Denmark. I think it's Denmark we're going to talk about. Yeah, Trump's on Rogan tomorrow. That should be interesting. I'm looking forward to it. On Go Rogan. Nobody uses Bitcoin? What are you talking about? I use Bitcoin every single day of my life. Every day. I'm looking forward to that too. I think they'll have a really good chat. I think that'll be one of the best interviews. Well, I shouldn't say that. He's done a lot of good interviews, but anyways, what else we got going on here today? Okay, we're still trying to figure out the sunshine dilemma over here, it looks like. Vitalik exit scam coming. I agree. I think that there's going to be Ethereum is going to be like the next FTX, except no one's really going to care outside of like a bunch of people who don't know what they're up to and a bunch of weirdos. So, okay, let's figure this out. This is okay. So there can only be one sunshine. Orange sunshine still lives in the ether. I don't know. Letha says, what should I do with my NFT on the Ethereum network? Take a picture of it. Can you sell it? Imagine you paid, how much were those NFTs going for? I feel like they were going for like $500,000, like those Bored Apes, and they've crashed down like 99%. Oh, can you imagine just being like I get it. Bieber bought some, I'm sure Drake did, like all the celebrities who have too much money, Like, whatever, who cares? That's an absolute nothing burger for them. But like, imagine somebody like me, and I made some good decisions there. I was in the game early enough, and I had 1,000 Ethereum. And I decided that instead of trading that in for Bitcoin, I'm going to spend $500,000 worth of purchasing power on an NFT of an ape. So I go from like this average person who got a little bit lucky, was there at the right time, to this millionaire, close, maybe multi-millionaire. And I buy an NFT, and then I'm right back to where I was before. That's a tough ride. Tough ride. And the thing with that is, like, Bitcoin dropped. Bitcoin has had years where it's dropped 60, 70%, but it's back up. That's the thing. Like, those NFTs are never going to come back to where they were, ever, under any circumstances. It's tough. Utah State fan says, I agree with what Sailor said. Bitcoin seed phrase was not meant to be written down on a steel plate. That makes it no different than precious metals. Bitcoin should be pure consciousness. I mean, that's a very interesting argument for it. And I'm not even really sure how to react to that myself, because I am a big believer in the fact that those 12 words or 24 words in your head are the most powerful thing about Bitcoin. The fact that you can hop on a plane, have 12 words in your head that nobody could ever access today. I guess in the future they might be able to read that from you, but today there's no way that anybody could get access to those 12 words. You hop on a plane, you go wherever you want, you take all your wealth with you up here. There's no other asset on earth that can do that, not even close. Think about it. Your bank account, you can't do that. They'll flag it. They'll stop you from doing it. Gold, you probably could take 2 gold coins on a plane. You're going to take a piece of land on a plane. Your house, silver, hockey card collection. You can't do anything like that. So I do agree with that in the sense that it is pure consciousness. But at the same time, it's like, if you go to that point and you memorize it, and something happens to you, you hop on that airplane and the plane goes down, or you're driving to work the next day and you get hit by a bus, that Bitcoin's gone. And maybe people are okay with that. I don't know. That's a very interesting discussion. It's tough. It's really tough. Just thinking in my own head right now while I'm live on the internet. But for me, like, you should do something like that. I think that every single person watching the show today should go towards that. And what I mean by that is, like, okay, this is very early. This whole thing's kind of new to us. Don't go too far. Don't overcomplicate. Don't try to memorize with your whole stack in there. Take a large percent of my elbow's really itchy. What does that mean? Take a large percent of your Bitcoin stack, like let's say 85, 90% of it, put it in a wallet, in a cold card, or in a multi-signature or multi-jurisdictional. Like, take care of that. Treat that as like your gold, really, and put that on steel. Do whatever you need to do with it. Make sure that never gets lost. Your family, if that's what you want, your family is going to have that forever. Take 2%, create a couple wallets, memorize those keys. And if worse comes to worse, you still are going to have that up there. And just know that those 12 or 24 words up here, again, is the most powerful thing about Bitcoin. So I do encourage that, and then if something happens, if you get hit by a bus, 2% of your stack's gone, that's okay. Or 4%, 5%, whatever it is. But I do think people should be making actionable steps towards that. Just don't do it too fast, because you're going to have a very pissed off family if something were to happen to you. It's like, everything that you have in Bitcoin is a sum of your life's time and energy. Whatever value you've added to the world, that's what you're storing in Bitcoin. And so if something were to happen to you and that Bitcoin's gone, that's, to me, a waste of a life. But what do I know? Okay, let's take a little break here. I'm tired of ranting. Just kidding. Let's have some coffee. Okay, I'm gonna do a little bit of you know what I forgot to do today? I forgot to share this on Nostr. I need an assistant. Anybody looking for work? Pay you in sats. All you have to do is help me prepare for the show every day and tweet out. Actually, that wouldn't work either because then I'd have to give you my private key. I'm just gonna have to deal with it. This is the time in the show where I should have an ad to run. Okay, hold on here. Let's get to some news here. I'll catch up on the chat in a bit. Okay. So kind of going back to the Ethereum stuff and Bitcoin and kind of where we are today in the cycle and what's coming in the next couple months. I talked about somebody asked me my predictions for Bitcoin yesterday. And I said, I think for 2025, I said I wouldn't be surprised if it was 400,000, 500,000 or above that. It wouldn't be surprising to me at all if that was the fiat price of Bitcoin. But what I forgot to mention with that is, like, even at that point, this is the crazy thing to me about Bitcoin is, like, even if fast forward to October 24th, 2025, let's say the price of Bitcoin is $500,000 US per Bitcoin. That's not going to really do anything for me. Truly. Like, yeah, I have, 5% of my Bitcoin stack that I kind of have earmarked for different things that I want, that I don't need, but want. So I might part with 5% of my Bitcoin and buy a couple things I've been putting off for the last 6 years. But outside of that, like at $500,000, okay, I'm not going to ever trade that Bitcoin in for fiat. So then you kind of take it a step further and say, okay, well, what is the real value of Bitcoin then? If we're at 60,000 today and it goes to 500,000, and the majority of Bitcoiners, I know I'm not alone in that theory or logic and thinking. So what is the real value of Bitcoin then? If there's only a certain amount of it, and Bitcoiners are the ones holding 55% of it right now, and the majority of people have that kind of logic, then what is the real value, the real price of Bitcoin today? Regardless of what the tickers, the exchanges, the news will tell you, what's the real price of Bitcoin today? That's the crazy thing. That's like the next level of thinking through this whole thing. So yeah, again, I might sell a bit of Bitcoin and buy a few things, but it could go to 5 million. And I'm still not going to trade my Bitcoin for $5 million worth of, again, going back to the paper house analogy. It's like you have a solid house, like a perfect foundation, big, beautiful house, everything you want in it. And somebody comes along and they want to trade you 5 million paper houses for your house. Are you going to do that? Probably not. Because that's all that is. It's just fiat is just a paper house. Bitcoin is the real house, the real property. Okay, so let's take a look at this. There's a lot of people up in arms about this right now. I mean, there's just like, I could do a 5-hour show on everything that's happening in the world and in Bitcoin right now, but unfortunately we don't have time for that. We got tires to be changed. So this is from Bitcoin News. It says, breaking. Denmark's Minister of Taxation proposes unrealized gains tax on crypto. Danes who own cryptocurrency would be taxed at 42% on value increases and decreases every year. I don't know how that would happen, regardless of whether they have sold or not. If passed, would start January 1st, 2026. So unrealized gains are probably the most sinister thing that any government could even imagine. So what that means is, like, if you had a Bitcoin let's just do a thought experiment here. Let's say that you bought Bitcoin back in 2020. You got one Bitcoin for $15,000. And so this is going to go into effect 2026. What do you think the price of Bitcoin is going to be at that time? Let's say it's $100,000. Let's go very conservative. $100,000, January 1st, 2026. So your gain there would be 85,000 USD. Your unrealized gain on that. And so 42% of that would be what? Almost $40,000 US. That's your untaxed gain on that, or unrealized gain. You haven't sold it. It's still in your cold card, but they're taxing you $40,000 on that. So that's the unrealized part of it, is like, you haven't sold it. You haven't got the proceeds from that sale. So you have the Bitcoin sitting there. They're taxing you 42% on it, unrealized gain. And you have to come up with $40,000 to give the government. What fucking planet are we living on here? So somebody is going to have to come up with $40,000 that they haven't received anything. They have no proceeds from any sale, but they have to come up with $40,000 to pay their government. Come on. So what I think is going to happen. What's happening here? Arnie's looking at something. What I think is going to happen there is people are just going to leave. That's the whole, because think about it. Let's say let's go down that same road of somebody who bought Bitcoin at $15,000, and all of a sudden they have to come up with $40,000. Do you think they're going to stick around and let that happen? I doubt it. So what's going to happen there then? All the Bitcoiners in Denmark who are going to be, have all this wealth and probably use it for good, in their communities, their towns and cities, or just to improve their own lives. And you're going to take those people and make them leave your country. So what are you going to be left with there? And, I think that there's only going to be a few countries who do this off the start, realize how horrible of an idea it is, and then it's going to reverse. It's just going to be such a mess. So that's the problem. And I mean, that's what I would do if Canada came out and said they're coming up with a 42% unrealized gains tax on Bitcoin. I'm gone. And they're going to lose a lot of good, productive people in that country just by being so fucking stupid. So I hope Denmark does that. I hope there's a couple countries who do that and they see the implications of that in their country. All right. Oh, okay. We got a update here from Zapstream in the Sunshine Land. Hold on. Just want to make sure I'm not missing anybody here. Okay, so all these apps I see coming in, but they're not actually showing up on my screen. So I see 420. I think that was from Sunshine. And then Noah sent 1,000. There's 121. I don't know who that was from. Seems like no, I don't know who that was from. And then we got 210 sats and 420 sats. So all of those sats, thank you, everybody. Unfortunately, I can't see who sent them, which is very shitty. But anyways, thanks for those. Those are all going to the Open Sats Fund. Okay, but we have some clarification here on everything on Zapstream, the controversy here. So it says, Jor, this was Orange Sunshine, now known as Spaceman. Jor, just so you understand, there were two of us in your Zapstream with very similar chat names. Sunshine and Orange Sunshine. Sunshine was here first, so Orange Sunshine changed to Spaceman. You now know to make things simple and less confusing. I got you. Okay. That makes a lot more sense because I thought that Sunshine changed their name to Orange Sunshine. And I don't know. It's confusing. That's the tough thing about Bitcoin and these communities is like every different person, every different platform has a different NIM. And it's almost impossible to keep track of them all. So anyways, that's why I just go by Jor because there's no way anybody could mess that up. Okay, let's catch up here. I'm way behind. The book, The Bitcoin Standard, should be required reading in every school. What do we think schools are going to look like in? Or are you huffing and puffing? Guy, man. What do we think schools are going to look like in 20 years from now? Like, I just don't see the same vision for the world now. The schools are 20 years behind in their curriculums, everything the kids and university kids and college kids outside of trades and stuff like that. But the things that people are learning right now in school are 20 years behind. It's like, it's crazy to me that people are still sending their kids to learn something that is completely irrelevant in 5 years from now. So backwards. But like, it's so big, it's become so fat that there's really nothing that they can do about it right now. It's just such a weird time for schooling. But yeah, I mean, that would help a lot. I don't know if the Bitcoin Standard, it's a little bit heavy, but something like that. Bodie, good morning. Retro Beaver says, buying ship coins is the same as gambling in a casino. The house always wins. Yep. It's exactly what they are. I don't like calling them shit coins. They are casino coins. It's just gambling. And that's what I said. Like, it's okay. If you got 2 or 3% of your portfolio of Bitcoin that you want to put into a meme coin, I don't really care. I don't. All right. Arnie's blessed us again with his presence. Hi, buddy. What are you doing? What are you doing? How come you're huffing and puffing? What kind of damage are you creating out there? Okay, you can just hang out if you want, man. I'll be done right away. You can just hang out. Yes, and this is a very good point here from Retro Beaver. It says unit bias is what drives noobs into shitcoins. It's a part of a lot of Bitcoiners' journey. Do the work. Yeah. So what he means by that is like with the unit bias is like people who are just first, starting to even open their mind up about Bitcoin or cryptocurrency or whatever it is. They see this price of Bitcoin at $67,000 US. And the average person, like, I'm not talking about the suits on Wall Street and people who have a lot of wealth built up through the years and have a lot of money that they can play with. Some 67,000 looks like nothing. But for most people, I'd say 99% of people, they see 67,000. They're like, well, okay, I'm never going to get to 1 Bitcoin. So what's even the point? Why would I try? But little do they know that Bitcoin is going to be so scarce. It already is in 5-10 years from now. So don't look at it like trying to get to 1. Just try to get to like 1 million sats. And I think if more people, there's Arnie. I think if more people understood that in terms of like what a sat is, how we're just going to keep moving the decimal points from Bitcoin to sat to microsat to millisat to millivanillisat. Like, that's what people are missing. It's the exact same thing as land. The exact same thing happened hundreds of years ago when people came over to this side of the world, North America. There's all this land, just like there was all this Bitcoin back in 2009. And so people were grabbing up land. The first ones came over, they were grabbing up these plots of land called townships. And so at the time, there was a ton of supply. Every step they took was new land, ton of supply, zero demand, zero people were over there yet. And so it was worth almost nothing, just like Bitcoin was back in 2009. 1 Bitcoin, 1 township, same kind of thing. So just like in Bitcoin, or just like when people came over here, as more people showed up and the supply of new Bitcoin kept going down with the halvings, it got more valuable. And so we're kind of at the same point now where we're going from Bitcoin to a sat to a microsat, and we're just going to keep pushing the decimal point because we can't make more Bitcoin. So the only thing that we can do is push the decimal points. So I think most people, as mentioned here, suffer with the unit bias. They think because they can't get one Bitcoin, it's not going to be worth anything. But if they knew how valuable one sat was going to be in a decade from now or 50 years from now, because you have to keep in mind here, not so with the land there, with the land analogy is like people moved from a township to a section of land. And as more people came over, they moved it to a half section. They kept moving the unit of measurement, and then a quarter section, and then a section, and then an acre, and then a lot. And that's kind of where we are today. But the crazy thing about that is that if you think about how valuable sats are going to be, not Bitcoin, but sats, in 2064, which is in 40 years from now, there's going to be 1,283 Bitcoin mined, new Bitcoin mined. No, sorry, 321 Bitcoin per year mined. The whole world is going to have 321 Bitcoin per year mined, new supply, which is less than 1 Bitcoin per day for the entire world. So that is the big issue there, is the unit bias. But, just like he says, or she says, do the work, because once you understand that, then you understand how valuable sats are. Okay. Sorry, I'm struggling to keep up with both chats here. I see Nate's over in the Zap stream. Morning, Nate. Good to see you, man. Haven't seen Nate in the chat for a while. But we have, I really like this analogy from Noah in the Zap stream. So as I said this to the Simply team, a port in Italy wanted to charge yachts more because they are rich. But the day before the law went into effect, they sailed away into another port. They now made less than before the law was implemented. Denmark will learn the same mistake. It's exactly what's going to happen. Exactly what's going to happen. Any country who tries to implement this unrealized gains on tax, it's a crime. And people aren't dumb. People still have we have more ability now than we did back then to be mobile, move to a different country. And so if you think of a country like America, or let's use America, and they or Canada even. Canada's talking about the same unrealized tax on unrealized gains. And so right now you think about all the millionaires, billionaires here in Canada, how much tax they pay to Canada. And all of a sudden you start rolling out these stupid laws like this. And what are they going to do? Do you think they're actually just going to roll over and pay it? Yeah, sure. You know what? You're right, government. I'm going to pay you 40% tax on these assets that I have, which I haven't sold. I have no proceeds for, but I'm going to write you a check for that. No, these people are not stupid. They're very, very intelligent people. And even if they don't move physically, they're going to move their assets out of the country. So Canada, before that, they were making all this money from millionaires, billionaires, taxes. And they implement something like that. Not only are they not going to have the same amount, they're going to have way less because people are just going to move. Either move themselves or move their assets. Right? All right. LMH. It's a really important message. Ethereum has been a scam since inception. Luckily, I got out 3 years ago. There you go. And Rick says if you got 32 Ethereum, you can run a node. Apparently makes roughly $400 a month. Wow. That seems worth it to me. I would rather do, I'm not going to go there. Ape. Yeah. In a divorce, I lost my keys. Sorry. I mean, in any situation, that's the whole going back to the keeping the words up here. If you do this thing properly, there's absolutely no way for anybody to prove that you have access to that Bitcoin. Unless they can somehow hack into your mind, there's no way that they can do that. And then you just wait them out. You wait out the government. You wait out your lawyers, wait 7 years or whatever it is, then you can move some coins out of there. Go to fucking Puerto Rico or El Salvador. It's like stuff isn't hard, but it's hard to get to that point. Rick says, in the UK, Bitcoin is officially treated as property. Law changed literally a week ago. So what does that mean then? What does that mean tax-wise? Is that good or bad? I feel like that's good. No, maybe not. Be better if it was a currency, because then you wouldn't have to pay any tax on it. But I mean, I see that there's a lot of new people in the chat here today, so I want to mention this because this is kind of important. It's like people worry about the tax implications of their Bitcoin, but to me, I see Bitcoin as a currency, and Trump calls it a currency as well, and I think he's gone out of his way to talk about it as a currency, not an investment. So I think that that's just a little bit of foreshadowing of what's going to be coming in the U.S., assuming, they don't cheat. They can't cheat that big. But it's a currency. So here's how I look at currency. Like El Salvador, it's already legal tender in El Salvador. So if it's legal tender in El Salvador, I would say like it's a currency. So if I went to the U.S. here from Canada, and I bought $2,000 worth of American dollars that I was going to use, but then I ended up paying with credit card, or I ended up, staying. I was sick. So I come back, I have $1,500 in my pocket, and I go to the bank, exchange it back for Canadian dollars. I'm not paying tax on that. That's currency, right? And so I think because El Salvador has set the precedent of it being legal tender, then how could you ever argue that? And again, all you're going to have to do is just wait it out. And if you're somebody like me who never really plans on selling their Bitcoin, then taxes are going to be irrelevant unless they come out with this unrealized gain tax, and then I'm going to be out of Canada. That's a fact. Ape says, if the government can't get your Bitcoin, how can your ex-wife? That's exactly right. And the crazy thing is, in Ireland a couple weeks ago, shout out to my pals from Ireland here. I don't know if any are in the chat or not, but that's what's happened in Ireland. The crime investigation unit of Ireland made this big seize on Bitcoin, and they couldn't actually move. They couldn't get the Bitcoin. So they knew that the guy had it, but they can't actually get it from him. Fucking hilarious. Ethereum and most shitcoins will be the next BitConnect. Yeah, I agree. Trump on Rogan will break the internet. I think so too. I think that that's like the two, like Trump's gone on these different bigger, like he was on the Nelk, whatever the Nelk podcast is, Full Send, I think, or something. Did very well. It broke the internet then. But like Joe Rogan's a whole nother level. So it'd be fun. That's tomorrow, I think. So I don't know how long it takes for them to edit it and stuff, but I don't think it's very long. He's got a pretty good team there. All right, AJ. Hello, Jor. Hello, AJ. Good to see you. Good. You got a ton of new faces in the chat today. It's good. Good to see. I'm going to start sharing this on Twitter as well. I think there was quite a few people from Twitter on here yesterday. All right, we got it. Look at this. We got Latin Dat. Living in Vietnam, I'm 25 years old, and I have accumulated 10 million sats. Great work. But what I'll tell you, Latin Dat, the number one rule in Bitcoin, never tell anybody how much Bitcoin you have, ever. There's going to be absolutely no benefit to it, especially if you're at a bar trying to pick up a honey. Don't mention how much Bitcoin you have. You're forever going to have a target on your back. I already regret having a YouTube channel because of that. And I don't know what my plan is long-term for that. But we don't have to worry about that today. We got too much work to do. Sold all my ordinals for Bitcoin. Attaboy. Let's take a selfie, Arn. Oh, other way. No. Okay. Yeah, this is I love this quote. Ethereums are the mother asshole from which shitcoins spring. I mean, Ethereum was the mother asshole from which shitcoins spring, but it seems like that's becoming, what's the other one? Solana. I feel like Solana is becoming the new mother assholes from which shitcoins spring because they do it better. They're faster, they're cheaper, more efficient. They have momentum. So Ethereum was, but like the Ethereum is now like the 70-year-old mother who can't have kids out the front or the back anymore. And Solana is like the new 20-year-old from which all the shit coins are coming out. Both horrible. Buy Bitcoin. That's it. Have some fun with meme coins if you want, with like 2 or 3% of your portfolio, but don't do anything else. Just, it doesn't make sense. All right. What, I had another couple things that I wanted to talk about here. But where? Oh, I wanted to do fucking nostr today. Okay, let's watch this from, I like this guy a lot. His name is Pierre Richard, I think. I don't know if he's Canadian or not. He sounds like a Canadian. Name Pierre Richard is very Canadian. But going back to like the governments, going back to all that kind of stuff, let's see what he has to say on this, because I found this to be very interesting about the prisoner's dilemma involving governments and Bitcoin. Let's see.
Banks and national states do to limit Bitcoin.
Yeah. I think that they are actually in a bit of a prisoner's dilemma, because ultimately, if Bitcoin is big enough and powerful enough and promising enough to want to limit, then it is also big enough and powerful enough and probable enough to succeed that they would want to be the first movers and be the first ones to start accumulating. So I think that they do have an issue there from a game theory perspective. They also have an issue from a principal agent perspective, because the longer that these central bankers and government employees study Bitcoin, they're going to become bullish on it, and then they're going to betray their employer. And this has happened throughout history on numerous technological innovations.
What do you think central banks?
Very interesting perspective there. Like, not only the game theory involved in, with the governments wanting to stop Bitcoin, but also realizing that they can't stop Bitcoin and then having to buy Bitcoin. Like, that's what we're going to see here in the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. We're going to see that in different governments, different parts of the world. They're all going through the same journey on their own. It's like they're going to try their best to stop their citizens from owning Bitcoin, whatever that looks like. Then they're going to realize that they actually can't. They either can't stop it or people are leaving their country. And they're going to say, okay, there's nothing that we can do about it. So we're actually going to have to change direction here and start accumulating Bitcoin. And many countries already have, whether they're admitting it or not. There's probably a dozen countries who are either buying Bitcoin regularly or mining Bitcoin. So we're in that phase right now, 15 years, almost 16 years into this thing. That's kind of what we're going through right now. But the other thing he talked about, I thought was very interesting. And this is, to me, something that even I don't know what's going to happen with this. Because as they, the debt, the fiat, the printing, it can only go one direction from here, right? It's not like they're going to slow it down. It's not like they can change the direction of the debt. So assuming we keep going down the same road that we're going on, I think we're going to fork. I think the world's going to fork into a different path in the next couple of years. But assume we keep going down the same road, where they're, making up these inflation numbers, they're making up these employment numbers, they're making up every number that they make public to try to convince people that the system is still working. And so they're going to have to keep printing money. They're going to keep hiring people to work in the government to keep votes. But over time here, as that currency continues to be devalued and inflated away, as that trend continues, while Bitcoin's kind of going the opposite way, what's going to happen there? Let's say that, I think this is a bit an exaggeration, but maybe it's not. Let's say that half the people in Canada here work for the government right now. And the government, the reason they support the government is because they get paid by the government. And the government's paying them fiat. And the government hates Bitcoin. But they aren't that stupid. They have eyes, they have ears. They see what's going on in Bitcoin. They see what's going on in terms of the purchasing power and as a hedge against what they're living through right now. And they jump ship. They jump ship on their employer. So every time somebody jumps ship there, that government becomes less powerful, less influential. And they're going to start losing a grip on that power and influence over time. And it's going to slowly shift. I mean, think about it in your own life. Me personally, I know a lot of people who have left their jobs in the last 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Like, it's happening right now. People are slowly just moving away from that system and into their own gig or their own, and they're not paying taxes or they're buying Bitcoin. It's happening right now where the governments can do whatever they want. This thing's out of the box now. It's never being put back in. So that's what we're going to see. We're going to see every country's currency continue to be printed, continue to be devalued. People's purchasing power are going to continue to go down, and they're going to see this bright, shiny Bitcoin thing, and they're just going to leave that. They're going to leave their job. They're going to leave the government. And what's going to happen there? The government's going to have no money. Their fiat's going to be worth nothing, and they're going to end up with nothing. That's the whole path with this, how it's going to go. And that's like worst case for us. Best case is they adopt it. They are friendly to it, like America is going to be in hopefully a couple months from now. And we just slowly start going in a much better direction without the fight, without the animosity there. So either way, we're going to win. In my opinion. Oh, look at this. We got Curty. Been watching your live stream from mid 2023. I don't know if that's accurate or not. I didn't start till the end of 2023. But anyways, I've learned so much from your stream, as there are very few live streamers about crypto, but I haven't received any sats from a giveaway. Well, my friend, I'm sorry, but you shouldn't be watching shows that people are doing like this and expecting for them to give you things. Should be the opposite. Somebody sitting here on a video, answering questions, talking to people, adding value to people's lives should be the ones getting Bitcoin. And yes, I give away Bitcoin at the start of every show. I give away Bitcoin from Bitcoin Well, but seems like a bot maybe. I don't know. So what I'll do is I'll give you this QR code. You can send any amount of sats you want to it anytime. It's for our guy there, Arnie. Where is he? Arnie's coming up on, he's got 65,000 sats in his wallet right now. He's going to be richer than most people. But anyways, Ape. MicroStrategy stock is a good buy also. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. No Nosferatu says 200,000 at most. I'm talking about the predictions for next year, maybe. Holy, this guy's got to go. Yeah, Arthur says, don't beg, dude. If you have learned so much, he already gave you so much more than a few sats. Go use the knowledge to earn your sats. Exactly. Or send some back. Send some back. It's funny. Here's the funny thing about, like, I'm kind of new to this whole thing in Bitcoin and YouTube and all this kind of stuff. Like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Who knows? It's just me. But it's like, okay, people go to school their whole lives, the first 18 years of their life. They pay for that, right? Even though they don't think they do, their taxes pay for teachers to teach them. Not teach them, but indoctrinate them. So they get these nice salaries, $100,000 per year, talking about bullshit, lying, the curriculum. I mean, yes, there are good teachers out there. I'm not going to paint the whole picture with it, but you pay for that. And then you go to university and you pay a lot of money for that. And you don't really learn anything. You just memorize a bunch of stuff. You think that you're going to get this degree from it, and that's going to somehow change your life. And that's maybe how it was 20 years ago, but we're not there anymore. And then you have people on YouTube, which you actually want to attend. No one's forcing you to watch this stream right now, right? You chose that. You're not being forced to, or you're not being held at gunpoint to get this degree, or you can't get a job. You chose to be here. And you obviously find enough value in this channel that you're willing to sit here for an hour and 10 minutes so far. So it's like, okay, you pay for a bunch of things that you don't want, or, you're being indoctrinated, or you don't think you need, or you just memorize and then forget. But people do not value just because it's such a new thing in the world. I think that's why people don't put the same value on, somebody who's teaching, not really teaching. I mean, this is just kind of a logical show for the most part, but helping people. The whole goal of this channel is to help you exit the old system and into Bitcoin, and make sure that whatever Bitcoin you do have today, you're going to have 40 years from now. And to me, that is invaluable. That is priceless. You cannot put a price on that. So I didn't mean to start a rant there, but that's just kind of my opinion on things in Bitcoin. And there's a shift happening. I very much appreciate, even in Zapstream right now, like we got a couple thousand sats. Yeah, a couple thousand sats over there. We got people sending it. So I do appreciate it. But I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of people who pay a lot of money for education that they don't want, but then refuse to pay for the education that they do want. That's the YouTube dilemma. Bodhi says, selling Bitcoin versus spending Bitcoin, major difference in the mindset, 100%. And I do think that we have to start spending Bitcoin. You have to. And don't worry about the tax consequences or anything like that, because there isn't really going to be any tax consequences there. If you have, let's use my tires an example today. Or not tires, because the tire shop's not going to accept Bitcoin. Let's say I want to buy beef jerky. There's a company in Alberta that I found on Nostr the other day selling beef jerky. If you buy 2 pounds of it, you get free shipping. So instead of like going to their website, paying with dollars because I don't want to spend my Bitcoin, all you do there is you buy some Bitcoin. Let's say the jerky costs 50,000 sats or 100,000 sats. Instead of paying them on PayPal or MasterCard and having to put in all your information, you pay in Bitcoin. And you don't have to sell your Bitcoin and get rid of it. You just take that $100 that you would have spent otherwise, you buy Bitcoin at Bitcoin Well, and then you can either send it to them from Bitcoin Well or send it to your wallet first, and then do that. It's important. Like, we have to have, it's not going to be instrumental for Bitcoin success, but you have to have that velocity there in money for it to become something. So think about it as spending Bitcoin, not selling. And if you do have Bitcoin, let's say you don't want to go out and buy Bitcoin, you just sell some of yours. Then whatever you sell, or whatever you spend, you just buy back, you replenish it. So you're not out, because the whole goal for every year is on December 31st that you had more Bitcoin than you had on January 1st. So whatever that looks like, however that looks like to you. All right, let's check on Zapstream here. I'm missing a lot. My path to fire says capital gains is just a fiat construct. Yeah, I mean, capital gains is for one, but then you go into unrealized capital gains. That's criminal. Capital gains is a fiat construct. Unrealized capital gains is theft, is straight up criminal. Says, see you in El Salvador, Jor. I can't wait to get to El Salvador. All right. Let's whoa, what was that? The hell was that? There was literally a bird that just came, like, it was a small bird, but it just came and sat like right on the window here, like he was trying to get in. It's a jungle out here. Okay. Let's here's what we're gonna do. Here's what we're gonna do. We got 115. I don't think I'm gonna do a nostr video today. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna catch up on the chat here, and then we're gonna call her a day. Let's see what has progressed with this bot here. Curdy says, I don't have proper funds to invest in crypto, and I only need 1,000 sats to get in my budget and to trade. Okay, we're gonna be ignoring that guy. All right, Dolzura Dev. Good morning, Jor. Hope everyone has a great day. That's a new face. Good morning. They are getting desperate, and that's what we have to be ready for. I think that's the kind of message I wanted to get across today. Is like, everybody is going to want your Bitcoin. So you have to realize how valuable it is, and B, do everything that you possibly can to make sure that you have all these different, like, I want you to think about this in your head. I want you to play out these different thought experiments. What could happen in your life based on where you are, based on your community, based on your security? What could happen to your Bitcoin? Because you're here now. You understand how valuable it is today. You want to have this in 50 years from now. What could go wrong with your security setup today? Whether that's somebody breaking in, whether the government comes to your door, whether they start taxing it, whether your house burns down, whether you die in a car accident. Like, it's dark stuff, but you have to be thinking about this stuff. For every risk that you foresee in your current setup, you have to have a counter to. And there's really no rush on it. I mean, the sooner you can start putting these things into place, the better. And next week, I'm actually in the process of mapping this out. But next week, we're going to start an 8-week course, or an 8-episode course of not like the basics of Bitcoin, not buying it, not trading it, not mining it, but just like doing things to make sure that you have your Bitcoin in 50 years. That's going to be like the main mission of it. So it's going to be on the Living in the Future channel. I'm probably going to put it up, like, after we finish it all. I'm probably going to put it as like a collection on the Patreon, and people will be able to buy it for like a very nominal amount, because I want this information to get out there. I don't want it to be out in the public, because that's how, people learn this stuff, whether it's a criminal, the government, the law enforcement, whatever. I don't need that stuff to be public. So we're going to figure out what we need to do in order to make sure we have our Bitcoin in 50 years from now. So you can either join, come along for the course, be in the live chat, ask questions that way, or you can just wait for it to be finished, and you can pay probably about the same, and you can just have access to the whole course. So I'm looking forward to that. I want to keep it very simple, actionable, and go through it together, and not gloss over anything either. Like, okay, we're talking about this. This is exactly what you need to do. Not generally speaking, you should do this or you could do this. No, this is what you need to do. This is the link. This is what you use. Very specific. Because I've been through Bitcoin tutorials and Bitcoin things before where they're just talking, and I have no idea what that means. They're using abbreviations. They're just assuming people have the same knowledge as them. So Arthur says, Neo, you're saying the Bitcoin standard will be required in every school. I like this from Bodhi, and I think Letha was talking about this as well. Homeschool gets customized to every child every day with consistent themes throughout. Only way to go. I don't have kids yet, but hopefully that'll be the same for them. And I think it was Letha that said, everything is just a lesson. You can't just tell somebody that you need to learn this. Like, you never know when a lesson is going to come up, what you're going to learn from that. It's an evolving thing. It's ever evolving. There's no curriculum. The only reason there's curriculums is because somebody paid for their message to be in that curriculum. And so as I'm not I'm not old, but I'm not young. But as you go through life, you realize that it's not like you can't give somebody this and say, okay, here's what you're doing today. This is what you're going to learn. You just kind of have to let them, give them options, give them stuff to do. And that's how they learn. You can't force somebody to learn things. I'm sure everybody here has experienced that in their life. Whenever somebody tells you that you have to learn this, you don't want to. You don't learn anything from it because you don't want to. That's the difference there. And I feel like a homeschool or something along those lines would be much more doable, customizable, because every person is different. Everybody learns differently too. You can't put 30 fucking kids in a room and teach them the same thing in the same way. It's absolute nonsense. We're going to look back at this 100 years from now and be like, what were we doing? Letha says, if you're considering homeschooling, read anything by John Holt. That's good information there. Look at Daniel over in Zapstream. Says, would you say you want people to lift their Bitcoin game drawer? Yeah, so aside from that course, we have about 8 people who are in the chats here, in the community, in the Signal chat, in the Discord chat. We're going to be kind of working together to help all of the new Bitcoiners who are going to be coming into the scene here. So we're actually going to call it, I think, this is not confirmed, but like Living in the Future is LITF. That's the abbreviation for it. But we're going to call this kind of like a Bitcoin advisory, Bitcoin mentor stuff. Just helping people. That's it. Helping people. We're going to call it Lift. So it's kind of a spin on Living in the Future, but we're going to call it Lift. Lift people up, lift each other up. That's what this whole thing is about. Right? You can call it transition, but that's more like, when I think transition now, I think of really gross things. So we're going to just lift. That's what it's called, Lift, hopefully, if people agree to that name anyways. Trump is considering, hey, Thiago, I missed you. Bitcoin. I love Thiago. Just a man of very few words, but important. Jason says, Trump is considering reforming education, get it out of being centralized in DC and move to states. And from what I understand of it, is he's going further than that. He's going to make it all available for free. And that might be different for children right now, but I'm not entirely sure on that. But I think it was called the American Academy. We talked about it last week. But he wants to essentially make every course that you can think of, bachelor's degree level, available to anybody for free. And he said they're not going to have to take on any more debt. They're not going to add new lines to the budget. What they're going to do is they're actually going to tax, regulate, and what was the other one? They're basically going to go after the private pension funds of like the big universities. Fucking brilliant move. Brilliant. If that comes to light, that'll go down as one of the best decisions of any leader in history. Sorry, everybody on Zapstream. I can't see. Zapstream's kind of been shitting out on me here lately. I can't see. I only see NPOPs. Oh, we got Sarah's Soup Box. Look at that. I recognized Sarah's Soup Box from Odell's Citadel Dispatch yesterday. She had about 10,000 little cowboy emojis. She clogged up the feed. And I told her, I said, easy, Sarah, Jesus. And she's in the chat today. So that's kind of cool. Good morning, Sarah. Great name too, Sarah Soup Box. I also see Ox Beef. God, there's some stupid names on here. Okay, let's get back to business here. Juan Sebastian Salazar Tovar. I like the full name. Binance, it's third owner of Bitcoin. Does that mean like third largest owner of Bitcoin? Do you think someday they will purchase a country and become one? Probably. I really see that. I think that we're going towards things like Binance, corporations. And I think it's Bitcoin Ben who talks about this, and I'm in full agreement with this. Like we're moving from a society that's controlled and governed by big governments, like federally run governments. And I think we're actually going to move into a more decentralized corporate world. Somewhat, like not McDonald's isn't going to run a town or anything like that, but it's going to be Binance. It's going to be MicroStrategy. It's going to be BlackRock. Like they're going to have their own. I don't really have a full clear picture of what it looks like, but I do think that the power and influence is shifting from centralized governments to corporations, and then it's going to just keep decentralizing from there. And I think the towns and stuff like that are already popping up around the world, like of similar minded people using the same currency, helping each other. You know, that's going to continue to go that way, I think. Having Bitcoin, guns, land, recipe to become a country. I think I agree with you. I think someday big companies are going to purchase a poor country. I very much agree with that. And it's probably not that far in the future. Hey, Nimlord. I haven't seen Nimlord in here for a while. And Knoxville. Robert says, I pay for a course like that. Well, the good news is you don't have to pay very much. It's not going to be like $1,000 course or anything. All you need to do is join in the show notes here. It says Living in the Future, join. It's $5 a month. Everybody who's there is not only going to get the course, but they're going to be part of the course. It's going to be all done live, I think. It's my plan anyways, because I want to leave it open for questions after, because, I don't know what everybody's thinking. So kind of the idea is we're going to do 8 parts. Everyone's going to do kind of a different, I'll talk for like 20 minutes and then we'll open it up to the chat for people to ask questions. So it's not going to be, I'm not trying to rip people off here. It's not a $1,000 course. I'm sure I could charge something like that and people would pay for it, but just join as a Living in the Future member in the chat and you get to be there for it. So we're going to start that next week. And I mean, why wait? Just join today. You can hop in the Signal chat, the Discord chat, start meeting some new pals, and you'll be ready for the course. It's going to be very valuable for people, for any Bitcoiners of any level. Timeline. Hey, I had a comment from Timeline yesterday that I wanted to talk about. Hey, Tommy D. Good morning, Tommy. Tommy's making some big moves in his life, but I was laughing at Rick's remakes there. Milli Vanilli said. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Sometimes just like the things that come out of my mouth, I can't even believe that I say them, especially on live. But what was I looking at here? Milli Vanilli. No, Timeline. Hold up. Where were those? I screenshotted them. I'm still kind of getting used to the Android here. It's different. Everything's different on here. I screenshotted those. Where are they? Fuck. Hold on. Give me 30 seconds. If I can't figure it out, then we'll move on with our day. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25. Screenshot. Took a screenshot of it. No, that's not it. 19, 18, 17. Okay. Oh, that's another comment I wanted to share. But okay, this is the question that Timeline asked on the feed or in the comments. It says, thank you, Jor, for taking your time to educate us. I have been trying to educate Canadian Taxpayer Federation, my dentist, my dog food guys, and others to transact with real money. They resist. I do have my landlord on board. Are there tools we can use to help them see the future? I heard there's a map showing businesses that transact in Bitcoin. So what I would say to that, the first one I'll answer is you can actually go to Coinos. Maybe I'll bring it up on the screen here for you. This is kind of cool though. Coinos. Oh, I don't know my information here. Sorry. This is kind of what happens at the end of the shows here. We kind of get a little bit squirrely. But hold on. I got to enter in my Koinos info. Because that's where you find them. That's the best one that I've found anyways. Oh, I don't have it on here. Nice. That's perfect. I guess I'll bring it up on my phone for you. So for anybody out there who, okay, let's go home. For anybody out there who is in anybody I think can use Koinos, but I actually really like this wallet. I'm a big fan of the Koinos wallet. So what you can do in Koinos, and one thing I've been telling people when I set them up with the Koinos wallet is it comes with Lightning URL, which you need for a lot of things in Bitcoin, and like nostr is one of them. So I had a hell of a time finding my Lightning URL on here. Like this is kind of what the main screen looks like on there. I got a big balance on there for 4,900 sats. But I had a hell of a time finding my Lightning URL on here. So what you actually do is you see that little QR code beside the King Golf. You click that, and you have your Lightning URL there. Which, by the way, feel free to send some sats here if you want to. kinggolf@koinos.io, and then you got a public URL where you can go on the internet, check things out, and you got a public key, nostr public key there. So very, very versatile wallet here. I'm a big fan of this. But then you go to the top there, those three buttons at the top. And it says settings, support, map, shop, and sign out. So if you go to map, it actually, like look how fucking cool this is. This is in Vancouver. This is how many businesses are accepting Bitcoin right now in Vancouver. Isn't that incredible? So you try to tell me that nobody's using Bitcoin, that's bullshit. And yes, I mean, a few of these probably just slapped a sticker on their window. Probably not a whole lot of people have used them or paid in Bitcoin, but still, this is how it starts. Again, it's not like we just flip a switch one day. Somebody comes on the TV and says, okay, well, we're now officially moving to a Bitcoin standard. So you can search here, and that's for, you can go Vancouver there. That's BC. And then there's a couple in, oh, that's BC, closer to Kelowna. There's 3 in Alberta. And these are just ones that have registered with Koinos, by the way. Like as King Golf, we accept Bitcoin here in Manitoba, and I'm not on the map. And maybe you should be actually, but we don't have a physical location. So there's some in Wisconsin. There's a lot in Ontario. There's a couple in Florida, Vermont, California, Mexico, El Salvador, Costa Rica. Let me see the furthest one here. Oh, look at that. A bunch in South America too. Look at that. That's in Uruguay in that area. Like, I don't know. That's really cool to me. So that's the Koinos app. I do highly suggest that. I've been using this more and more lately. Very cool. It's very, very functional wallet. And the big part of that is the Lightning URL. You need that for a lot of things in Bitcoin. Spaceman says, I love the squirrely part of the show. Yeah, this is usually, if you stick around, you usually get some good laughs or good info at the end of every show. Tommy D says you should charge more. You know what? I don't know. At the end of the day, probably. Like that's a thing. That's the thing I think that I think about this kind of stuff a lot. And that's why I'll just maybe share it with you guys, because I think it's important to share. But like, let's go through my personal journey. I'm not going to say like the average person. This is just me, right? So I went to think about this path and think about how the fiat system works. So I went to college for 2 years. In college, I drank a lot of beer. I went to the bar a lot. I memorized a bunch of things. I passed a bunch of tests. I went to university for another 2 years, did the exact same thing there, probably a little bit more of each. And I came out with this degree. And then I did my CPA for 2 years, and I did less drinking, more studying. but all I did was memorize things. I mean, there was case studies and stuff, but so you go through that 6 years and of doing things, you know, during college, during university, during CPA, like there's a ton of stuff, probably 90% of it, it may be more, that I did not use in my job. And so I got hired on. I was doing my CPA while I was working for an accounting firm. But you get hired on, and these firms charge you out at like $250 per hour right out of school. So think about that. All this time, 90% of stuff I did not use in my job, and they're charging me out at let's say $200, probably more now, per hour. That's what clients pay for somebody who just, you know, drank a lot of beers, memorized some stuff, and clients are paying $200 an hour for this person to do their work. Whereas compare that to me now. And so I've spent the last 5 or 6 years in Bitcoin, and how many hours a day? Probably on average 6, learning about Bitcoin. And what do I charge? A fraction of that. And I feel like I add 100 times more value to people than I did then. And I'm charging a fraction of that. That's kind of where we are right now in the transition from fiat world to Bitcoin standard. And you know, I was prepared for it. And maybe I could charge more. Maybe I should charge more. But that's, you know, it's not all about the money. It's the whole thing. The reason why we show up here every day is to help people. That's it. So I know that over time, if I put in enough value, if I add enough value to the world, that value will come back my way. It's not something that I can pull levers and change. That's just one of the laws of the universe, right? Anybody who has watched the Earl Nightingale shows with us in the Living in the Future, the amount of value you receive is directly proportionate to the amount of value that you add. It's a law of the universe that cannot be changed. So I'm not going to try to change that myself. Okay, well, I got to top on my balance here. Looks like we got quite a few zaps here for the open sats today, which is good. We got 1,000, we got 420, 121, 210, 420, 100, 121, 1,000, and 69. Nice. So thank you everybody for that. Unfortunately, I cannot see the names. Let me try something here. I'm going to see if I go over to sats.gg if it'll show up on there. Yep, that worked. Well, somewhat. Those other ones might be too high. But I see Spaceman Zap 69 sats. Come on over to Nostr, add some value, and get some sats. Daniel, it was Daniel who zapped 1,000 sats. Open sat zap. Thank you, Daniel. And Duncan zapped 121. Thank you, Duncan. So there we go. Maybe I'll start using sats.gg instead. Kind of shitty because I love Zapstream and I love Kieran for all the work he does. I don't know who runs sats.gg, but it seems to be like the zaps just aren't showing up on my stream, which is kind of shitty because I want to say thanks to people. Oh my God, we can't be having this right now. I think Kamal is going to win. Trump will run and win in 2028. No. Bye-bye. If Kamala Harris wins this election, I said this before on the show, but I'm probably going to leave Canada. I'm not living through another 4 years of this nonsense. It's just like, it's not even unfair. It's not even like corrupt. It's just so far past the point of sanity. It's so far past that. And I don't want to be surrounded by, you know, people who are just okay with that. So it's going to be big. I mean, Kamal's not going to win and I move to somewhere the next day. Like, I'll just start making plans, which is shitty because I love Canada. I love everything about it. I love the US. I love North America, the people, the landscapes, everything that we have here. But I can't. I really can't. So anyways, hopefully Sleepyhead's okay with moving. It might be a little bit hot for him in El Salvador, so he might have to move to like fucking Antarctica or something if they'll let us in there. Anyways, let's wrap things up today. This show really got out of hand today. Hour 40 minutes again today. I didn't even do the nostr segment that I wanted to, but that's okay. You just got to roll with it. So thanks again, everybody on Zapstream for the sats today. So my path to far says use nostrudel. I know I got logged out of nostrudel last week and I can't get back into it. Nostr is still so tough. Like it's literally like learning the internet again. I got locked out. I tried using my Amber to access my account and it wouldn't let me. So I just kind of gave up on it. But that's how I was watching it too. But then I tried Amethyst yesterday. And so maybe for people out there who are on Android, it took me 6 months to figure this out myself. So there's probably other people out there who could use this info. So if you're on Android, make sure you're using Amethyst. It's the best one by far. So I was trying to figure out how to watch Zapstream on Nostr on like my phone. So what you actually do is you go to at the bottom there. There's a little. See what's highlighted there? It's like a little broadcast thing. It looks like a dot and then two things around it. Global. And then you go to live at the top. And there's me. So that's how you can do it. And then there it is. I'm watching myself on TV. This is the weirdest thing ever. But that's how you do it on Amethyst. So anyways, thanks again for, so Spaceman says I watched through nostrudel Launchpad. Works like a dream. I don't know where it's coming from, but Zapstream has no vids available for me to see. That's what I've been looking at too. Every time I open up Zap.stream, it's just a blank page. It says popular and then there's nothing there. So I don't know. Hopefully Kieran gets to fixing that because I love Zapstream. Anyways, thanks once again, everybody, for the zaps today. Thank you to the person who zapped 8,800 sats to Arnie yesterday. If you'd like to contribute to this fella right there, grow his wallet, you can send him right there. And consider joining Living the Future. I really mean it. And, you know, I maybe should charge more, but that isn't the point of it. It's just a beautiful community. And like I said at the start of the show, you have a question about anything on there, whether it's literally anything, just throw it out there for the group. And there's going to be at least one or two people who answer that. And it's probably going to spark a discussion. And it's going to save you a whole lot of time and energy and just great people in there. It's kind of amazing to me that we've been doing it for about 6 months now. And there was like one issue kind of early on. And it wasn't even an issue. It was a big fucking nothing burger. But the guy left the community. He was mad. And maybe he's still watching the show today. But anyways, he's not there anymore. So check it out. Check it out. Just go to anything you need is underneath the video here in the show notes. So have a great Thursday, everybody. I got to get into the city. I'm going to leave here in about half an hour probably. And that's it. So we'll see you right back here first thing tomorrow morning for the Friday show. No Agenda Friday. There's kind of a no agenda Thursday today as well, but maybe we'll switch things up tomorrow. Okay. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks again. And we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.